I think I know why you're here. Between the devastating fires up in Sonoma and Napa, where so many people have been affected, including lots of people in this room and friends who couldn't come because they lost their homes, the hurricanes down in Houston and Florida, the earthquakes, and our dysfunctional government, which actually has a hostile attitude towards our environment, I think all of you need a big dose of hope. Well, fortunately, you've come to the right place because today will be a day full of hope. My name is Charlie Knowles. I'm the co-founder and president of the Wildlife Conservation Network, and I'm thrilled to have you all here. I know you had a lot of choices and things you could do today, from the Beer and Bike Festival, which is going on, the sandcastle competition out at Ocean Beach, and let's not forget the Pumpkin Festival that's taking place in Half Moon Bay. But quite frankly, there's no place I'd rather be than with 1,000 wildlife fanatics. So thank you all for being here. I want to start off by thanking our sponsors who made today all possible, including the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, the Leiden Foundation, the Disney Conservation Fund, our good friends at the Houston Zoo, San Diego Global, the Sacramento Zoo, and a special shout out to Safari West, who's a sponsor. Some of you may know of Peter Lang, the owner, and when the fires hit there, Peter was on the front lines with buckets of water, protecting the 900 animals, none of whom which was lost, and in the process, Peter lost his house. But thank you, Peter, and thank you for the heroic efforts there. I also want to thank the incredible, amazing WCN staff and the 100 volunteers we have working today. The staff has been working for over a year putting together this week's events, and they deserve a very special shout out. I have a few housekeeping items. Obviously, turn off your cell phones if you have them. In terms of lunch, the good people at Mission Bay Conference Center here don't allow us to bring in our own food or food trucks or anything else. They charge us $37 for each of the lunches, which we think is ridiculous. So we're subsidizing them, so you only pay $15. And the containers, even though they look like they're plastic, it's all compostable. So just throw it in the bins, it all gets composted. That's the good news. I haven't told you the bad news yet. The bad news is we're out of lunches. If you haven't already bought a lunch ticket, there are a number of places both out the front, the back door. There's a Subway. There's also a cafe here. And at the information desk, they can tell you where to go. How many of you went through the parking garage fiasco last year? Any of you? So our good friends at Mission Bay Conference Center apparently haven't figured out how to get people out of a parking garage after an event. So if you stay until 5 p.m., we've bought out the garage, and we're just going to open up the gates. And so just hold your ticket out as you come out, and you can just go straight out. And as you can tell, we're actually losing money on each one of you, but we're making it up in volume, don't worry. So, I'm also supposed to tell you that before every talk starts, there'll be a cowbell that rings that gives you the 5-minute warning of what's going on. We also have 60 exhibitors here. We invite any organizations doing wildlife conservation or animal welfare to come and exhibit for free. And so please go out and visit them. They're doing fantastic work. We have a huge range from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I didn't know they were still in business, but they're going to be here. And from World Wildlife Fund down to our local Project Coyote, which is a favorite of mine. And my favorite name of organization is Lemur Love. And they're here, and insert your joke. There you go. Love those lemurs. So please check them out. But as we know, the situation with wildlife conservation is pretty dire. In my lifetime, half the wildlife in the world has disappeared. Giraffes, yes, giraffes. The population in the last 30 years has fallen by 40%. And lions, over the last 25 years, the population has fallen in half. So it's dire, but there is reason for hope. And my reason for hope are the many individuals here who are on the front lines of wildlife conservation, who you'll hear from today, and from people like you. I look around and I see so many people who volunteer their times and help WCN, help the conservationists, make donations, and we're so deeply appreciative. If you have the means and you're able to support any of the conservationists, 100% of the money will go directly to their work. If they don't, and you're a teacher or you're great at social media, you can teach me about that later, just let people know about what's going on and what we're doing and how they can help, and that would be just terrific. And just to give you an example of a couple of heroes, last year there was a 7-year-old boy named Arlo who came to the expo. Is Arlo here today? Go ahead and stand up, Arlo. And I think we have a picture of Arlo. Arlo and his friends started a lemonade stand and raised $153 for Save the Elephants. And I have to say that this is pretty much how I feel 365 days a year. Save wildlife, please, please save wildlife. So thank you, Arlo. That's fantastic. And also today we have a woman named Chris Tompkins. Chris and her husband, Doug, have purchased 2.2 million acres in Patagonia and have donated all the land to set up national parks in Chile and Argentina. And Chris will be a speaker at 5 o'clock today, and it would be fabulous. I know you'd love hearing from her. She'll talk about how she's introducing jaguars and other wildlife back onto those lands and the process of how you go about doing what she has done is just absolutely stunning. So it is the power of individuals. It's the power of each of us and what we can do to help wildlife and help wildlife conservation. So thank you for your efforts. I do want to say a few words about the Wildlife Conservation Network. For how many of you is this the first expo you've been to? This always amazes me because we've been doing this for 16 years, but I'd like to do a quick marketing survey. How many of you found out about us from a friend? Okay. How many through social media? Something you got in the mail? It's not surprising because we don't send mail, but just checking. Something else I'm forgetting about? Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for finding us. And we have a lot of, this is, as I mentioned, the 16th year. How many of you have been to at least 3 expos before? Been to at least 5? Been to at least 10? Been to at least 15? Thank you. So, as you can see, it's a bit habit forming. So, glad to have you here. Wildlife Conservation Network was founded in 2002, really around the idea that to save wildlife in wild places, let's find amazing individuals who are living and working in the field with local communities who are developing innovative solutions that not only benefit wildlife, but benefit the communities as well, so people can coexist and thrive. And we've always been very focused on how that relationship is with the generous supporters. So we have lots of opportunities to connect directly with the conservationists, like today and through other events or visiting the field, and we ensure that 100% of your gifts, if designated to a project, go directly to that project. We have very low overhead. Charity Navigator, which rates over 8,000 organizations on efficiency and transparency, gave WCN the first perfect score of 100 in terms of our efficiency and transparency, and we're very proud of that. And through your generous support over the years, we've now been able to raise and deploy over $80 million, which has had a huge impact in the field, so thank you for that.